Hello, and welcome to Wyrd Sisters Shakespeare Society's reading of The Comedy of Errors by William Shakespeare. My name is Katharine Vary, acting company manager for the Society, and I directed this piece. This production is raising funds for Two Strikes Theater Collective, a remarkable group of motivated women of color theater makers in Baltimore. If you're able, please donate at the link provided in the first comment below this feed. Any amount is welcome, no matter how small. In the video description, you can find the cast list and my director's note, which describes my thought processes and the questions that I grappled with while directing this 400-year-old piece. The show runs roughly 85 minutes, and afterward there will be a short talk back with the cast, moderated by our acting executive director, Melissa McGinley. We encourage you all to stay and ask questions in the comments section. Content warnings for this play include comic violence, misogyny, and fat shaming. If you want to silence your phones at this time, you're welcome to, but it isn't required. We'll never know. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the show.
Our story begins in the beautifully appointed reception chamber of Silenus, the Duke of Ephesus, a Greek city-state on the Aegean Sea. Years of war with the Sicilian city-state of Syracuse have worn upon the good Duke, and this morning he faces the heavy task of dealing with a newly arrived Syracusan merchant named Aegean.
Proceed, Silenus, to procure my fall, and by the doom of death end woes and all.
Merchant of Syracusa, plead no more. I am not partial to infringe our laws. The enmity and discourse which of late sprung from the rancorous outrage of your duke to merchants, our well-dealing countrymen, who wanting guilders to redeem their lives have sealed his rigorous statutes with their blood, exudes all pity from our threatening looks. If any born at Ephesus be seen at any Syracusan marts and fairs, again, if any Syracusan born come to the bay of Ephesus, he dies. His goods confiscate to the duke's dispose, unless 1,000 marks be levied to quit the penalty and ransom him. Thy substance, valued at the highest rate, cannot amount to 100 marks. Therefore, by law, thou art condemned to die.
Yet this my comfort, when your words are done, my woes end likewise with the evening sun.
Syracusan, say in brief why thou departest from thy native home, and for what cause thou camest to Ephesus.
In Syracusa was I born, and wed unto a woman happy but for me, and by me had not our hap been bad. With her I lived in joy. Our wealth increased by prosperous voyages I often made to Epidamnum, till my factor's death and the great care of goods at random left drew me from kind embracements of my spouse, from whom my absence was not 6 months old before herself, almost at fainting under the pleasing punishment that women bear, had made provision for her following me, and soon and safe arrived where I was. There had she not been long, but she became a joyful mother of 2 goodly sons, and, which was strange, the one so like the other as could not be distinguished but by names. That very hour, and in the self-same inn, a meaner woman was delivered of such a burden, male twins, both alike. Those, for their parents were exceeding poor, I bought and brought up to attend my sons. My wife, not meanly proud of 2 such boys, made daily motions for our home return. Unwilling I agreed. Alas, too soon we came aboard. A league from Epidamnum had we sailed before the always wind-obeying deep gave any tragic instance of our harm. But longer did we not retain much hope. For what obscured light the heavens did grant did but convey unto our fearful minds a doubtful warrant of immediate death. My wife, more careful for the latter born, had fastened him unto a small spare mast, such as seafaring men provide for storms. To him one of the other twins was bound, whilst I had been like heedful of the other. The children thus disposed, my wife and I, fixing our eyes on whom our care was fixed, fastened ourselves at either end the mast, and floating straight, obedient to the stream, was carried towards Corinth, as we thought. At length the sun, gazing upon the earth, dispersed those vapors that offended us, and by the benefit of his wished light the seas waxed calm, and we discovered 2 ships from far, making amain to us, of Corinth that, of Epidaurus this. But ere the ships could meet, by twice 5 leagues, we were encountered by a mighty rock, which being violently borne upon, our helpful ship was splitted in the midst. Her part, poor soul, seeming as burdened with lesser weight, but not with lesser woe, was carried with more speed before the wind. And in our sight, they 3 were taken up by fishermen of Corinth, as we thought. At length another ship had seized on us, and knowing whom it was their hap to save, gave healthful welcome to their shipwrecked guests, and would have reft the fishers of their prey, had not their bark been very slow of sail, and therefore homeward did they bend their course. Thus have you heard me severed from my bliss, that by misfortunes was my life prolonged, to tell sad stories of my own mishaps.
And for the sake of them thou sorrowest for, do me the favor to dilate at full what hath befallen of them of thee till now.
My youngest boy, and yet my eldest care, at 18 years became inquisitive after his brother, and importuned me that his attendant, so his case was like, reft of his brother, but retained his name, might bear him company in the quest of him, whom, whilst I labored of a love to see, I hazarded the loss of whom I loved. 5 summers have I spent in furthest Greece, roaming clean through the bounds of Asia, and coasting homeward came to Ephesus, hopeless to find, yet loath to leave unsought, or that or any place that harbors men. But here must end the story of my life, and happy were I in my timely death, could all my travels warrant me they live.
Hapless Aegean, whom the fates have marked to bear the extremity of dire mishap, now trust me, were it not against our laws, my soul would sue as advocate for thee. But though thou art adjudged to the death, and past sentence may not be recalled, yet I will favor thee in what I can. Therefore, merchant, I'll limit thee to this day, to seek thy life by beneficial help. To all friends thou hast in Ephesus, beg thou or borrow to make up the sum and live. If no, thou art condemned to die.
Hopeless and helpless doth Aegean wend, but to procrastinate his lifeless end.
Meanwhile, in the city square, another Syracusan and his serving man have been luckier than Aegean, having evaded the Duke's officers and met up with a friendly business partner who is willing to help them make their way in Ephesus.
Therefore, give out your epidamnum, lest that your goods too soon be confiscate. This very day a Syracusan merchant is apprehended here for a rival, and not being able to buy out his life according to the statute of the town, dies ere the wary sun set in the west. There's your money that I had to keep.
Go, bear it to the centaur where we host, and stay there, Dromio, till I come to thee. Get thee away.
Many a man would take you at your word and go indeed, having so good a mien.
What, will you walk with me about the town, and then go to my inn and dine with me?
I crave your pardon. Suit at 5 o'clock, please you. I'll meet with you upon the mart, and afterward consort you till bedtime. My present business calls me from you now.
Farewell till then. I will go lose myself and wander up and down to view the city.
Sir, I commend you to your own content.
He that commends me to mine own content commends me to the thing I cannot get. I to the world am like a drop of water that in the ocean seeks another drop. So I, to find a mother and a brother, in quest of them unhappy lose myself. Here comes the almanac of my true date. What now? How chance thou art returned so soon?
Return so soon? Rather approach too late. The clock hath struck 12 upon the bell. My mistress made it 1 upon my cheek. She is so hot because the meat is cold. The meat is cold because you come not home. You come not home because you have no stomach. You have no stomach, having broken your fast. But we that know what 'tis to fast and pray are penitent for your default today.
Stop in your wind, sir. Tell me this, I pray. Where have you left the money that I gave you?
6pence that I had a Wednesday last to pay the saddler for my mistress' crupper. The saddler had it, sir. I kept it not.
I am not in a sportive humor now. Tell me, and dally not, where is the money?
I pray you, sir, as you sit at dinner, I for my mistress come to you in post. If I return, I shall be post indeed, for she will score your fault upon my pate.
Come, Dromio, come. These jests are out of season. Reserve them till a merrier hour than this. Where is the gold I gave in charge to thee?
My charge was but to fetch you from the mart home to your house, the Phoenix, sir, to dinner. My mistress and her sister stays for you.
In what safe place have you bestowed my money, or I shall break that merry sconce of yours that stands on tricks when I am undisposed? Where is the 1,000 marks thou hadst of me?
I have some marks of yours upon my pate, some of my mistress's marks upon my shoulders, but not 1,000 marks between you both. If I should pay your worship those again, perchance you will not bear them patiently.
My mistress marks? What mistress, slave, hast thou?
Your worship's wife, my mistress at the Phoenix. She that doth fast till you come home to dinner, and prays that you will hie you home to dinner?
What, wilt thou flout me thus unto my face, being forbid? There, take you that, sir knave.
Oh! What mean you, sir? For God's sake, hold your hands! Nay, you will not, sir. I'll take my heels.
Upon my life, by some device or other, the villain is o'erwrought of all my money. They say this town is full of cousinage. If it prove so, I will be gone the sooner. I'll go to the Centaur to go seek this slave. I greatly fear my money is not safe.
Confusion in the streets meets impatience in the nearby home of a wealthy Ephesian merchant whose wife, Adriana, is furiously awaiting his promised arrival for dinner.
Neither my husband nor the slave returned, that in such haste I sent to seek his master. Show Luciana, it is 2:00.
Perhaps St. Murthant had invited him, and from the mart he's somewhere gone to dinner. Good sister, let us dine and never fret. A man is a master of his liberty. Time is their master, and when they see time, they'll go or come. If so, be patient, sister.
Why should their liberty than ours be more?
Because their business still lies out the door.
Look, when I serve him so, he takes it ill.
I know he is the bridle of your will.
There's none but asses will be bridled so.
Why, headstrong liberty is lashed with woe.
This servitude makes you to keep unwed.
Not this, but troubles of the marriage bed.
But were you wedded, you would bear some sway.
Ere I learn love, I'll practice to obey.
How, if your husband starts some other where?
Till he come home again, I would forbear.
Patience unmoved, no marvel though she pause. They can be meek that have no other cause. So thou that hast no unkind mate to grieve thee with urging helpless patience wouldst relieve me. But if thou live to see like right bereft, this fool bag patience in thee will be left.
Well, I will be merry one day, but to try, here comes your man. Now your husband is nigh?
Say, is your tardy master now at hand?
Nay, he's at 2 hands with me, and that my 2 ears can witness.
But say, I prithee, is he coming home? It seems he hath great care to please his wife.
Why, mistress, sure, my master is horn mad.
Horn mad, thou villain!
I mean, not cuckold mad, but sure he is stark mad. When I desired him to come home to dinner, he asked me for 1,000 marks in gold. 'Tis dinner time, quoth I. My gold, quoth he. Your meat doth burn, quoth I. My gold, quoth he. Will you come home, quoth I. My gold, quoth he. Where is the 1,000 marks I gave thee, villain? The pig, quoth I, is burned. My gold, quoth he. My mistress, sir, quoth I. Hang up thy mistress. I know not thy mistress. Out on thy mistress.
Quoth who?
Quoth my master. I know, quoth he, no house, no wife, no mistress. So that my errand due unto my tongue, I thank him I bear home upon my shoulders, for in conclusion he did beat me there.
Go back again, thou slave, and fetch him home.
Go back again and be no beaten home? For God's sake, send some other messenger.
Back, slave, or I will break thy pate across.
And he will bless that cross with another beating. Between you I shall have a holy head.
Hence, prating peasant, fetch thy master home.
Am I so round with you as you with me, that like a football you do spurn me thus? You spurn me hence, and he will spurn me hither. If I last in this service, you must case me in leather.
Fie, how impatience lower within your face.
His company must do his minions grace, whilst I at home starve for a merry look. But hath homely age the luring beauty took from my poor cheek? Then he hath wasted it. Are my discourses dull, barren my wit? If voluble and sharp discourse be marred, unkindness blunts it more than marble hard. Do their gay vestments his affections bait? That's not my fault, he's master of my state. What ruins are in me that can be found by him not ruined? Then is he the ground of my defeatures, my decayed fair, a sunny look of his would soon repair. But too unruly dear, he breaks the pail and feeds from home. For I am but his stale.
Self-harming jealousy, fie, beat it hence.
Unfeeling fools can with such wrongs dispense. I know his eye doth homage otherwhere, or else what lets it but he would be here? Sister, you know he promised me a chain. Would that alone he would detain, so he would keep fair quarter with his bed. I see the jewel best enamelled will lose his beauty, yet the gold bides still that others touch, and often touching will wear gold. And no man that hath a name by falsehood and corruption doth it shame. Since that my beauty cannot please his eye, I'll weep what's left away, and weeping die.
How many fond fools serve mad jealousy!
Back in the square, we find that our bemused Syracusan merchant has done his due diligence and checked to see that all was well at his lodgings.
The gold I gave to Dromio is laid up safe at the Centaur, and the heedful slave is wandered forth in care to seek me out by computation and mine host's report. Now, sir, is your merry humour altered, as you love strokes so jest with me again? You know no Centaur, you receive no gold. Your mistress sent me to have me come home to dinner. My house was at the Phoenix. Wast thou mad that thus so madly thou didst answer me?
What answer, sir? When spake I such a word?
Even now, even here, not half an hour since.
I did not see you since you sent me hence, home to the Centaur with the gold you gave me.
Ellen, thou didst deny the gold's receipt, and toldst me of a mistress and a dinner, for which I hope thou felt'st I was displeased.
I'm glad to see you in this merry vein. What means this jest, I pray you, master, tell me?
Nay, dost thou jeer and flout me in the teeth? Think'st thou I jest? Hold, take thou that.
Hold, sir, for God's sake, now your jest is earnest. Upon what bargain do you give it me?
Because that I familiarly sometimes do use you for my fool and chat with you, your sauciness will jest upon my love and make a comment of my serious hours. If you will jest with me, know my aspect, and fashion your demeanor to my looks, or I will beat this method in your sconce.
Sconce, call it you? So you would leave battering? I had rather have it ahead. And you use these blows long. I must get a sconce for my head and ensconce it too, or else I shall seek my wit in my shoulders. But I pray, sir, why am I beaten?
Dost thou not know?
Nothing, sir, but that I am beaten.
Shall I tell you why?
Aye, sir, and wherefore? For they say every why hath a wherefore.
Why first for flouting me, and then wherefore for urging it the second time to me?
Was there ever any man thus beaten out of season, when in the why and the wherefore is neither rhyme nor reason? Well, sir, I thank you.
Thank me, sir, for what?
Marry, sir, for this something that you gave me for nothing.
I'll make you amends next to give you nothing for something. But say, sir, is it dinner time?
No, sir, I think the meat wants that I have.
In good time, sir, what's that?
Basting.
Well, sir, then 'twill be dry.
If it be, sir, I pray you eat none of it.
Your reason?
Lest it make you choleric and purchase me another dry basting.
Well, sir, learn to jest in good time. There's a time for all things. But soft, who wafts us yonder?
Ay, Antipholus, look strange and frown. Some other mistress hath thy sweet aspects. I am not Adriana, nor thy wife. How comes it now, my husband, oh, how comes it that thou art thus estranged from thyself? Thyself, I call it, being strange to me, that undividable, incorporate, am better than thyself's better part. Oh, do not tear thyself away from me. For know, my love, as easy mayst thou fall, a drop of water in the breaking gulf, and take unmingled that same drop again, without addition or diminishing, as take from me thyself, and not me too. How dearly would it touch me to the quick, shouldst thou but here I were licentious, and that this body consecrate to thee by ruffian lust should be contaminate. Wouldst thou not spit at me, and spurn at me, and hurl the name of husband in my face, and tear the stained skin off my harlot brow, and from my false hand cut the wedding ring, and break it with a deep divorcing vow? I know thou canst, and therefore see thou do it. I am possessed with an adulterate blot. My blood is mingled with the crime of lust. For if we two be one and thou play false, I do digest the poison of thy flesh, being strumbeted by thy contagion. Keep then far league and truce with thy true bed. I live unstained, thou undishonored.
Plead you to me, fair dame? I know you not. In Ephesus I am but 2 hours old, as strange unto your town as to your talk, who every word by all my wit being scanned, want wit in all one word to understand.
Fie, brother, how the world is changed with you. When were you wont to use my sister thus? She sent for you by Dromio home to dinner?
By Dromio?
By me?
By thee, and this thou didst return from him, that he did buffet thee, and in his blows denied my house for his, me for his wife.
Did you converse, sir, with this gentlewoman? What is the course and drift of your compact?
Ay, sir, I never saw her till this time.
Villain, thou liest, for even her very words didst thou deliver to me on the mart.
I never spake with her in all my life.
How can she thus then call us by our names, unless it be my inspiration?
How ill it agrees with your gravity to counterfeit thus grossly with your slave, abetting him to thwart me in my mood. Be it my wrong, you are from me exempt, but wrong not that wrong with a more contempt. Come, I will fasten on this sleeve of thine. Thou art an elm, my husband, I a vine, whose weakness, married to thy stronger state, make me with thy strength to communicate. If aught possess thee from me, it is dross, usurping ivy, briar, or idle moss, who, all for want of pruning with intrusion, infect thy sap, and live on thy confusion.
To me she speaks, she moves me for her theme. What, was I married to her in my dream? Or sleep I now and think I hear all this? What error drives our eyes and ears amiss? Until I know this sure uncertainty, I'll entertain the offered fallacy.
Dromio, go bid the servants spread for dinner.
Oh, for my beads, I cross me for a sinner. This is the fairyland, oh, spite of spites. We talk with goblins, owls, and sprites. If we obey them not, this will ensue. They'll suck our breath or pinch us black and blue.
Why prayest thou to thyself? And answerest not. Dromio, thou drone, thou snail, thou slug, thou snot.
I am transformed, master, am I not?
I think thou art in mind, and so am I.
Nay, master, both in mind and in my shape.
Thou hast thine own form.
No, I am an ape.
If thou art changed to aught, it's to an ass.
'Tis true, she rides me, and I long for grass.
Come, no longer will I be a fool to put the finger in the eye and weep, whilst man and master laugh my woes to scorn. Come, sir, to dinner. Dromio, keep the gate. Husband, I'll dine above with you today and shrive you of 1,000 idle pranks. Sirrah, if any ask for your master, say he dines forth, and let no creature enter. Come, sister, Dromio, play the porter well.
Am I in earth, in heaven, or in hell? Sleeping or waking, mad or well advised, known unto these and to myself disguised? I'll say as they say and persever so, and in this mist at all adventures go.
A short time later, the well-respected local merchant Antipholus of Ephesus, identical in every way to the Syracusan Antipholus, arrives at his own doorstep with some friends ready to partake of a much belated dinner.
Good Signor Angelo, you must excuse us all. My wife is shrewish when I keep not hours. Say that I lingered with you at your shop to see the making of her carcanet, and that tomorrow you will bring it home. But here's a villain that would face me down. He met me on the mart, and then I beat him and charged him with 1,000 marks in gold. And then I deny my wife and house. Thou drunkard, thou, what didst thou mean by this?
Say what you will, sir, but I know what I know. That you beat me at the mart, I have your hand to show. If the skin were parchment and the blows you gave were ink, your own handwriting would tell you what I think.
I think thou art an ass.
Marry, so it doth appear, by the wrongs I suffer and the blows I bear. I should kick being kicked, and being at that pass, you would keep from my heels and beware of an ass.
You're sad, Signor Balthazar. Pray God our cheer may answer my goodwill, and you're welcome here.
Hold your dainties cheap, sir, and you're welcome, dear.
Oh, Signor Balthazar, either at flesh or fish, a table full of welcome makes scarce one dainty dish.
Meat, sir, is common that every churl affords.
And welcome more, for that's nothing but words.
More cheer and great welcome makes a merry feast.
Aye, to a miserly host and more sparing guest. But thou, my Cates, be mean, take them in good part. Better cheer may you have, but not with better heart. But soft, my door is locked. Go, bid them let us in.
Maud, Bridget, Marion, Cecil, Jillian, Jen.
Mo, malt horse, capon, coxcomb, idiot, patch. Either get thee from the door or sit down at the hatch. Dost thou conjure for wenches that thou call'st for such store when one is too many? Go, get thee from the door.
What patch is made our porter? My master stays in the street.
Let him walk from whence he came, lest he catch cold on his feet.
Who talks within there? Oh, open the door.
Right, sir, I'll tell you when, and you tell me wherefore.
Wherefore? For my dinner. I have not dined today.
Nor today, here you must not. Come again when you may.
What art thou that keepest me out of the house I owe?
The porter for this time, sir, and my name is Dromio.
Villain! Thou hast stolen both mine office and my name. The one ne'er got me credit, the other mickle blame. If thou hadst been Dromio today in my place, thou wouldst change thy face for a name, or thy name for an ass.
What a coil is there, Dromio? Who are those at the gate?
Let my master in loose.
Faith, no, he comes too late. And so tell your master.
Lord, I must laugh. Have it you with a proverb. Shall I set in my staff?
Have it you with another. That's when? Can you tell?
If thy name be called Luce, Luce, thou hast answered him well.
You hear, you minion, you'll let us in, I hope.
I thought to have asked you.
And you said no.
So come help. Oh, well struck. There was a blow for blow.
Now, baggage, let me in.
Can you tell for whose sake?
Master, knock the door hard.
Let him knock till it ache.
You'll cry for this minion if I beat the door down.
What needs all that? And a pair of stocks in the town.
Who is that at the door that keeps all this noise?
By my troth, your town is troubled with unruly boys.
Are you there, wife? You might have come before.
Your wife, sir knave? Go, get you from the door.
If you went in pain, master, this knave would go sore.
Here is neither cheer, sir, nor welcome. We would fain have either.
Debating which is best, we shall part with neither.
They stand at the door, master. Bid them welcome hither.
There is something in the wind that we cannot get in.
You would say so, master, if your garments were thin. Your cape there is warm within. You stand in the cold. It would make a man mad as a buck to be so bought and sold.
Go, fetch me something. I'll break open the gate.
Break any breaking here, and I'll break your knave's pate.
A man may break a word with you, sir, and words are but wind. Aye, and break it in your face, so he break it not behind.
Oh, it seems thou want'st breaking. Out upon thee, hind.
There's too much out upon thee. I pray thee, let me in.
Aye, when fowls have no feathers and fish have no fin.
Well, I'll break in. Go, get me a crow.
A crow without a feather? Master, mean you so? For a fish without a fin, there's a fowl without a feather. If a crow helps us in, sirrah, we'll pluck a crow together.
Oh, get thee gone. Fetch me an iron crow.
Have patience, sir. Let it not be so. Herein you war against your reputation and draw within the compass of suspect the unviolated honor of your wife. Once this, your long experience of her wisdom, her sober virtue, years and modesty, plead on her part some cause to you unknown. And doubt not, sir, but she will well excuse why at this time the doors are made against you. Be ruled by me, sir. Depart in patience, and let us to the Tiger all to dinner. And about evening come yourself to know the reason of this strange restraint. If by strong hand you offer to break in, now, in the stirring passage of day, a vulgar comment will be made of it. And that supposed by the common route against your yet unguiled estimation that may with foul intrusion enter and dwell upon your grave until you are dead. For slander lives upon succession, forever housed where it gets possession.
You have prevailed. I will depart in quiet, and in despite of mirth mean to be merry. Get you home, and fetch the chain. By this I know 'tis made. Bring it, I pray you, to the poor canteen, for there's the house. That chain will I bestow, be it for nothing but to spite my wife upon mine hostess there. But sir, make haste. Since mine own doors refuse to entertain me, I'll knock elsewhere to see if they'll disdain me.
I'll meet you at that place some hour hence.
Do so. This jest shall cost me some expense.
A bit later, inside the house, dinner has been finished, and Antipholus of Syracuse continues his charade, more or less, for he has found something that he finds even more delicious and intoxicating than the food and drink of dinner. Adriana's younger sister, Luciana.
And may it be that you've quite forgot a husband's office? Shall Antipholus, even in the spring of love, thou love springs rot? Shall love in building grow so ruinous? If you did wed my sister for her wealth, then for her wealth's sake use her with more kindness. Or if you like elsewhere, do it by stealth. Muffle your false love with some show of blindness. Alas, poor woman, make us but believe, being compact of credit, that you love us. Though others have the arm, show us the sleeve. We in your motion turn, and you may move us. Then, gentle brother, get you in again. Comfort my sister, cheer her, call her wife. The holy sport will be a little vain when the sweet breath of flattery conquers strife.
Sweet mistress, what your name is else I know not, nor by what wonder you do hit of mine. Less in your knowledge and your grace you show not than our earth's wonder, more than earth divine. Against my soul's pure truth, why labor you to make it wander in an unknown field? Are you a god? Would you create me new? Transform me then, and to your power I'll yield. But if that I am I, then well I know your weeping sister is no wife of mine, nor to her bed no homage do I owe. Far more to you do I decline. Oh, train me not, sweet mermaid, with thy note to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears. Sing, siren, for thyself, and I will dote. Spread o'er the silver waves thy golden hairs, and as a bed I'll take them, and there lie, and in that glorious supposition think he gains by death that hath such means to die. Let love, being light, be drowned if she sink.
What? Are you mad that you do reason so?
Not mad, but mated. How, I do not know.
It is a fault that springeth from your eye.
for gazing on your beams, fair sun, being by.
Gaze where you should, that will clear your sight.
As good to wink, sweet love, as look on night.
Why call you me love? Call my sister so.
Thy sister's sister.
That's my sister.
No, it is thyself, mine own self's better part, mine eye's clear eye, my dear heart's dearer heart, my food, my fortune, and my sweet hope's aim, my soul earth's heaven, and my heaven's claim.
All this my sister is, or else should be.
Call thyself sister sweet, for I am thee. Thee will I love, and with thee lead my life. Thou hast no husband yet, nor I no wife. Give me thy hand.
Oh, softster, I hold you still. I will fetch my sister to get her good will.
Oh, why, how now, Dromio? Where runn'st thou so fast?
Do you know me, sir? Am I Dromio? Am I your man? Am I myself?
Thou art Dromio, thou art my man, thou art thyself.
I am an ass. I am a woman's man and beside myself.
What woman's man, and how besides thyself?
Marry, sir, besides myself. I am due to a woman, one that claims me, one that haunts me, one that will have me.
What is she?
A very reverent body. Aye, such a one as a man may not speak of without he say, well, sir, reverence. I have but mean luck in the match, and yet she is a wondrous fat marriage.
What dost thou mean, a fat marriage?
Marry, sir, she's the kitchen wench and all grease. I know not what use to put her to, but to make a lamp of her and run from her by her own light. I warrant her rags and the tallow in them will burn a Poland winter. If she lives till doomsday, she'll burn a week longer than the whole world.
That's a fault that water will mend.
No, sir, 'tis in grain. Noah's flood could not do it.
What's her name?
Nell, sir. But her name and 3/4, that's an L, and 3/4 will not measure her from hip to hip.
Then she bears some breadth.
Well, no longer from head to foot than from hip to hip. She is spherical, like a globe. I could find out countries in her.
In what part of her body stands Ireland?
Oh, Mary, in her buttocks. I found it out by the bogs.
Where Scotland?
I found it by the barrenness, hard in the palm of the hand.
Where France?
In her forehead, armed and reverted, making war against her heir.
Where England?
I guess it stood in her chin by the salt room that ran between France and it.
Where Spain?
Faith, I saw it not, but I felt it hot in her breath.
Where America, the Indies?
Oh, sir, upon her nose, all o'er embellished with rubies, carbuncles, sapphires, declining their rich aspect to the hot breath of Spain.
Where stood Belgium, the Netherlands?
Oh, sir, I did not look so low. And to conclude, this drudge or diviner laid claim to me, called me Dromio, swore I was assured to her, told me what privy marks I had about me, as the mark of my shoulder, the mole in my neck, the great wart on my left arm, that I, amazed, ran from her as a witch. And I think if my breast had not been made of faith and my heart of steel, she had transformed me to a curdled dog and made me turn i' the wheel.
Go, hide thee presently, post to the road, and if the wind blow any way from shore, I will not harbor in this town tonight. If any bark put forth, come to the mart, where I will walk till thou return to me. If everyone knows us, and we know none, 'tis time, I think, to trudge, pack, and be gone.
As from a bear a man would run for life, so fly I from her that would be my wife.
There's none but witches do inhabit here, and therefore 'tis high time that I were hence. She that doth call me husband, even my soul doth for a wife abhor. But her fair sister, possessed with such a gentle sovereign grace, of such enchanting presence and discourse, have almost made me traitor to myself. But lest myself be guilty to self-wrong, I'll stop my ears against the mermaid's song.
Master Antipholus!
Aye, that's my name.
I know it well, sir. Lo, here is the chain.
What is your will that I shall do with this?
What please yourself, sir? I have made it for you.
Made it for me, sir? I bespoke it not.
Not once, nor twice, but 20 times you have. Go home and please your wife withal. And soon at supper time I'll finish you, and then receive my money for the chain.
I pray you, sir, receive the money now, for fear you ne'er see chain nor money more.
You are a merry man, sir. Fare you well.
What I should think of this, I cannot tell. But this I think, there's no man is so vain that would refuse so fair an offered chain. I see a man here needs not live by shifts, when in the streets he meets with such golden gifts. I'll to the mart, and there for Dromio stay. If any ship put out, then straight away.
Returning to the square, we find that the business of buying and selling continues apace, and that non-payment of debt is not likely tolerated in Ephesus. Our goldsmith Angelo is being pressed hard by another merchant to pay owed money or risk prison.
You know since Pentecost the sum is due. Therefore make present satisfaction, or I'll attach you by this officer.
Even just the sum that I do owe to you is growing to me by Antipholus. Please it you to walk with me down to his house. I will discharge my bond, and thank you, too.
That labor may you save. See where he comes.
While I go to the goldsmith's house, go thou and buy a rope's end. That will I bestow among my wife and her confederates for locking me out of my doors by day. But soft, I see the goldsmith. Get thee gone, buy thou a rope, and bring it home to me.
I buy £1,000 a year. I buy a rope.
A man as well hope up that trusts to you I promised your presence and the chain, but neither chain nor goldsmith came to me.
Saving your merry humor, here is the note. How much your chain weighs to the utmost carat, the fineness of the gold and chargeful passion, with doubts amounts to 3 odd ducats more than I stand indebted to this gentleman. I pray you, see him presently discharged.
I am not furnished with the present money. Besides, I have some business in the town. Go, signor, take the stranger to my house, and with you take the chain, and bid my wife disperse the sum on the receipt thereof. Perchance I will be there as soon as you.
Then you will bring the chain to her yourself?
No, bear it with you, lest I come not time enough.
Well, sir, I will. Have you the chain about you?
And if I have not, sir, I hope you have, or else you may return without your money.
Nay, come, I pray you, sir. Give me the chain.
Good Lord, you use this dalliance to excuse your breach of promise to the porpentine. I should have chid you for not bringing it, but like a shrew, you first begin to brawl.
The hour steals on. I pray you, sir, dispatch.
You'll hear how he importunes me. The chain!
Why, give it to my wife and fetch your money.
Come. You know I gave it you, even now. Either send the chain or send me by some token.
Fine, now you run this humor out of breath. Come, where's the chain? I pray you let me see it.
My business cannot brook this dalliance. Good sir, say whether you'll answer me or no. If not, I'll leave him to the officer.
I answer you? What should I answer you?
The money that you owe me for the chain!
I owe you none till I receive the chain.
You know I gave it you half an hour since.
You gave me none. You wrong me much to say so.
You wrong me more, sir, in denying it. Consider how it stands upon my credit.
Well, officer, arrest him at my suit.
I do, and charge you in the Duke's name to obey me.
This touches me in reputation. Either consent to pay this sum for me, or I attach you by this officer.
Consent to pay thee that I never had? Arrest me, foolish fellow, if thou darest.
Here is thy fee. Arrest him, officer. I would not spare my brother in this case if he should scorn me so apparently.
I do arrest you, sir. You hear the suit.
I do obey thee till I give thee bail, but sirrah, you shall buy this sport as dear as all the metal in your shop will answer.
Sir, I will have law in Ephesus to your notorious shame. I doubt it not.
Master, there is a bark of Epidamnum that stays but till her owner comes aboard. The ship is in her trim, the merry wind blows fair from land. They stay for naught at all, but for their owner, master, and yourself.
How now, a madman? Why, thou peevish sheep, what ship of Epidamnum stays for me?
A ship you sent me to hire waftage?
A drunken slave, I sent thee for a rope, and told thee to what purpose and what end.
You sent me for a rope's end as soon. You sent me to the bay, sir, for a bark.
I will debate this matter in more leisure, and teach your ears to list me with more heed. To Adriana, villain, hie thee straight, give her this, and tell her in the desk that covered o'er with Turkish tapestry there is a purse of ducats. Let her send it. Tell her I am arrested in the street, and thou shalt bail me. Hie thee, slave, be gone. On, officer, to prison till it come.
Adriana, that is where we dined, where Dowsabel did claim me for her husband. Thither I must, although against my will, for servants must their masters' minds fulfill.
Back at the house, Luciana tells an irate Adriana all about Antipholus' strange behavior.
Oh, Luciana, did he tempt thee so? Mightst thou perceive austerely in his eye that he did plead in earnest? Yea or no? Looked he red or pale, or sad or merrily? What observation madest thou in this case of his heart's meteors tilting in his face?
First he denied you in him you had no right.
He meant he did me none, the more my spite.
Then swore he that he was a stranger here.
And true he swore, though yet forsworn he were.
Then I pleaded for you.
And what said he?
That love I begged for you, he begged of me.
With what persuasion did he tempt thy love?
With words that in an honest suit might move. First, he did praise my beauty, then my speech.
Did speak him fair?
Have patience, I beseech.
I cannot, nor I will not hold me still. My tongue, though not my heart, shall have his will. That he is deformed, crooked, old, and sere, ill-faced, worse-bodied, shapeless, everywhere, vicious, ungentle, foolish, blunt, unkind, stigmatical in making worse in mind.
Who would be jealous then of such a one? No evil lost is wailed when it is gone.
But I think him better than I say, and yet would herein others' eyes were worse. Far from her nest the lapwing cries away. My heart prays for him, though my tongue do curse.
Here, go, the purse, the desk, sweet, now make haste.
How hast thou lost thy breath?
By running fast.
Where is thy master, Dromio? Is he well?
No, he's in Tartar limbo worse than hell. A devil in everlasting garment hath him, one whose hard heart is buttoned up with steel, a fiend, a fury, pitiless and rough, a wolf, nay, worse, a fellow all in buff, a back friend, a shoulder clapper, one that countermands the passages of alleys, creeks, and narrow lands, a hound that runs counter and yet draws dryfoot well, one that before the judgment carries poor souls to hell.
Why, man, what is the matter?
I do not know the matter. He's rested on the case.
What? Is he arrested? Tell me at whose suit.
I know not at whose suit he's rested well, but he's in a suit of buff which rested him, that I can tell. Will you send him, Mistress Redemption, the money in his desk?
Oh, go fetch it, sister. This I wonder at, that he, unknown to me, should be in debt. Tell me, was he arrested on a band?
Not on a band, but on a stronger thing. A chain, a chain. Do you not hear it ring?
What, the chain?
No, the bell. 'Tis time that I were gone. It was 2 ere I left him, and now the clock strikes 1.
The hours come back, that did I never hear.
Oh yes, if any hour meets a sergeant, it turns back for very fear.
As if time were in debt, how fondly dost thou reason?
Time is a very bankrupt, and owes more than he's worth to season. Nay, he's a thief too. Have you not heard men say that time comes stealing on by night and day? If time be in debt and theft, and a sergeant in the way, hath he not reason to turn back an hour and a day?
Go, Dromio, there's the money, bear it straight, and bring thy master home immediately. Come, sister, I am pressed down with conceit. Conceit, my comfort and my injury.
In the square, Antipholus of Syracuse marvels at the strange events of the day, while he impatiently awaits the return of Dromio, who he sent to the port in order to procure passage away from Ephesus.
There's not a man I meet but doth salute me, as if I were their well-acquainted friend, and everyone doth call me by my name. Some tender money to me, some invite me, some other give me thanks for kindnesses. Sure, these are but imaginary wiles, and Lapland sorcerers inhabit here.
Master, here's the gold you sent me for. What, have you got the picture of old Adam new apparelled?
What gold is this? What Adam dost thou mean?
Not that Adam that kept the paradise, but that Adam that keeps the prison. He that goes in the calf's skin that was killed for the prodigal. He that came behind you, sir, like an evil angel, and bid you forsake your liberty.
I understand thee not.
No? Why, 'tis a plain case. He that went like a base veal in a case of leather. The man, sir, that sets up his rest to do more exploits with his mace than with a Morris pike.
What, thou meanst an officer?
Aye, sir, the sergeant of the band. He that brings any man to answer it that breaks his band. One that thinks a man always going to bed and says, God give you good rest.
Well, sir, there rest in your foolery. Is there any ships put forth tonight? May we be gone?
Why, sir, I brought you word an hour since that the bark expedition put forth tonight, and then were you hindered by the sergeant to tarry for the hoy delay? Here are the angels that you sent for to deliver you.
The fellow is distract, and so am I, and here we wander in illusions. Some blessed power deliver us from hence.
While Antipholus of Syracuse finds himself confused and unsettled, Antipholus of Ephesus is having a thoroughly terrible day, having been refused entry to his own house, unfairly accused of theft, and arrested, and his day doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Fear me not, man. I will not break away. I'll give thee, ere I leave thee, so much money to warrant thee as I am rested for. My wife is in a wayward mood today, and will not lightly trust the messenger that I should be attached in Ephesus. I tell you, 'twill sound harshly in her ears. Here comes my man. I think he brings the money. How now, sir? Have you that I sent you for?
Here's that. I warrant you will pay them all.
But where's the money?
Why, sir, I gave the money for the rope.
500 ducats, villain, for a rope?
I'll serve you, sir, 500 at that rate.
To what end did I bid thee hie thee home?
To the rope's end, sir, and to that end I am returned.
And to that end, sir, I will welcome you.
Oh, good sir, be patient.
Nay, 'tis for me to be patient. I am in adversity.
Good, now hold thy tongue.
Nay, rather persuade him to hold his hands.
Thou horse and senseless villain.
Oh, I would I were senseless, sir, that I might not feel your blows.
Thou art sensible in nothing but blows, and so is an ass.
Oh! I am an ass indeed. You may prove it by my long ears. I have served him from the hour of my nativity to this instant, and have nothing at his hands for my service but blows. When I am cold, he heats me with beating. When I am warm, he cools me with beating. I am waked with it when I sleep, raised with it when I sit, driven out of doors with it when I go home, welcome home with it when I return. Nay, I bear it on my shoulders as a beggar wanter brat. And I think when he hath lamed me, I shall beg with it from door to door.
Come, go along. My wife is coming yonder.
Mistress, respice finum, respect your end, or rather, the prophecy like the parrot, beware the rope's end!
Wilt thou still talk?
Good Dr. Pinch, you are a conjurer. Establish him in his true sense again, and I will please you what you will demand.
Alas, how fiery and how sharp he looks.
Give me your hands, let me feel your pulse.
Here is my hand, and let it feel your ear.
I charge thee, Satan, housed within this man, to yield possession to my holy prayers, and to thy state of darkness hie thee straight. I conjure thee by all the saints of heaven.
Peace, doting wizard, peace, I am not mad.
Oh, that thou wert not, poor distressed soul.
You minion, you, are these your customers? Did this companion with the saffron face revel and feast at my house today? Or else upon me the guilty doors were shut, and I denied to enter in my house.
Oh, husband, God doth know you dined at home, where you would have remained until this time, free from these slanders and this open shame.
Dined at home? Thou villain, what sayest thou?
Sir, sooth to say, you did not dine at home.
Were not my doors locked up and I shut out?
Purdy, your doors were not locked and you shut out.
And did not she herself revile me there?
Sans fable, she herself reviled you there.
Did not her kitchen maid rail and taunt and scorn me?
Certes she did, the kitchen vestal scorned you.
And did not I rage and depart from thence?
In verity you did, my bones bear witness that since have felt the vigor of his rage.
It's good to soothe him in these contraries.
Oh, it is no shame. This fellow finds his vein, and yielding to his humors will fancy his.
Thou hast suffered the goldsmith to arrest me.
Alas, I sent you money to redeem you by Dromio here, who came in haste for it.
Money by me? Heart and goodwill you might, but surely, master, not a rag of money.
Went'st thou not to her for a purse of ducats?
He came to me, and I delivered it.
And I am witness with her that she did.
God and the rope maker bear me witness that I was sent for nothing but a rope.
Mistress, both men and master are possessed. I know it by their pale and deadly looks. They must be bound and laid in some dark room.
Say, wherefore didst thou lock me forth today, and why thou dost deny the bag of gold?
I did not, gentle husband, lock thee forth.
And gentle master, I received no gold, but I confess, sir, that we were locked out.
Dissembling villain, thou speakst false in both.
Dissembling harlot, thou art false in all, and art confederate with the damned pack to make a loathsome abject scorn of me. But with these nails I'll pluck out these false eyes that will behold me in this shameful sport.
Oh, bind him, let him come not near me.
Company, the fiend is strong within him.
Ay me, poor man, how pale and wan he looks.
What? Will you murder me? Thou jailer, thou, I am thy prisoner. Wilt thou suffer them to make a rescue?
Masters, let him go. He is my prisoner, and you shall not have him.
Oh, bind this man, for he is frantic too.
What wilt thou do, thou peevish officer? Hast thou delight to see a wretched man do outrage and displeasure to himself?
He is my prisoner. If I let him go, the debt he owes will be required of me.
I will discharge thee ere I go from thee. Bear me forthwith unto his creditor, and knowing how the debt grows, I will pay it. Good master doctor, see him safe conveyed home to my house. Oh, most unhappy day!
Oh, most unhappy strumpet!
Master, I am here entered in bond for you!
Out on thee, villain! Wherefore dost thou mad me?
Will you be bound for nothing? Be mad, good master, cried the devil!
God help poor souls, how idly do they talk.
Go, bear him hence. Sister, go you with me. Say now, Whose suit is he arrested at?
Angelo, a goldsmith. Do you know him?
I know the man. What is the sum he owes?
200 ducats.
Hey, how grows it due?
Due for a chain your husband had of him.
He did bespeak a chain for me, but had it not. Come, jailer, bring me where the goldsmith is. I long to know the truth hereof at large.
God, for thy mercy, they're loose again!
And come with naked swords. Let's call more help to have them bound again.
Away! They'll kill us!
I see these witches are afraid of swords.
She that would be your wife now ran from you.
Come to the centaur, fetch our stuff from thence. I long that we were safe and sound aboard.
Faith, stay here this night. They will surely do us no harm. You saw they speak us fair, give us gold. Methinks they are such a gentle nation that, but for the mountain of mad flush that claims marriage of me, I could find it in my heart to stay here still and turn witch.
I will not stay tonight for all the town, therefore away to get our stuff aboard.
Near to the prison and the palace, our aggrieved goldsmith Angelo and his impatient business partner have stopped on the doorstep of a small convent to try and make sense of the day's events. Good luck with that.
I am sorry, sir, that I have hindered you, but I protest he had the chain of me, though most dishonestly he doth deny it.
How is the man esteemed here in the city?
A very reverend reputation, sir, of credit, infinite, highly beloved, second to none that lives here in the city. His words might wear my wealth at any time.
I speak softly yonder as I think he walks.
'Tis so. And that chain about his neck, which he forswore most monstrously to have. Good sir, draw near to me, I'll speak to him. Signor Anticulus, I wonder much that you would put me to much shame and trouble, and, notwithstanding some scandal to yourself, with circumstance at all so to deny, this chain which now you wear so openly, besides the charge, the shame, imprisonment, you have done wrong to this my honest friend, who, but for staying on our controversy, had hoisted sail and put to sea today. This chain you had of me, can you deny it?
I think I had. I never did deny it.
Guess that you did, sir, and forswore it too.
Who heard me to deny it or forswear it?
These ears of mine thou know'st did hear thee. Fie on thee, wretch! 'Tis pity that thou livest to walk where any honest man resort.
Thou art a villain to impeach me thus. I'll prove mine honor and my honesty against thee presently, if thou darest stand.
I dare, and do defy thee for a villain.
Hold! Hurt him not, for God's sake! He is mad! Some get within him, take his sword away, bind Romeo too, and bear them to my house.
Run, master, run! For God's sake, take a house! This is some priory inn, or we are spoiled.
Be quiet, people. Wherefore throng you hither?
To fetch my poor distracted husband hence. Let us come in that we may bind him fast and bear him home for his recovery.
I knew he was not in his perfect wits.
I am sorry now that I did draw on him.
How long hath this possession held the man?
This week he hath been heavy, sour, sad, and much different from the man he was. But till this afternoon his passion ne'er brake into extremity of rage.
Hath he not lost much wealth by wreck of sea? Buried some dear friend? Hath not else his eye strayed his affection in unlawful love? A sin prevailing much in youthful men, who give their eyes the liberty of gazing. Which of these sorrows is he subject to?
To none of these, except it be the last, namely some love that drew him oft from home.
You should for that have reprehended him.
Why, so I did.
Aye, but not rough enough.
As roughly as my modesty would let me.
Haply in private.
And in assemblies too.
Aye, but not enough.
It was the copy of our conference. In bed he slept, not for my urging it. At board he fed, not for my urging it. Alone it was the subject of my theme. In company I often glance at it. Still did I tell him it was vile and bad.
And thereof came it that the man was mad. The venom clamors of a jealous woman, poisons more deadly than a mad dog's tooth. It seems his sleeps were hindered by thy railing, and therefore comes it that his head is light. Thou sayest his meat was sauced with thy upbraidings. Unquiet meals make ill digestions, thereof the raging fire of fever bred. And what's a fever but a fit of madness? Thou sayest his sports were hindered by thy brawls. Sweet recreation barred, what doth ensue but moody and dull melancholy, kinsman to grim and comfortless despair, and at her heels a huge infectious troop of pale distemperatures and foes to life. In food, in sport, and life-preserving rest, to be disturbed would mad or man or beast. The consequences then thy jealous fits have scared thy husband from the use of wits.
She never reprehended him, but mildly, and when he demeaned himself rough, rude, and wildly, why bear you these rebukes and answer not?
She did betray me to my own reproof. Good people, enter and lay hold on him.
No, not a creature enters in my house.
Then let your servants bring my husband forth.
Neither. He took this place for sanctuary, and it shall privilege him from your hands till I have brought him to his wits again, or lose my labor in assaying it.
I will attend my husband, be his nurse, diet his sickness, for it is my office, and will have no attorney but myself, and therefore let me have him home with me.
Be patient, for I will not let him stir till I have used the approved means I have, with wholesome syrups, drugs, and holy prayers, to make of him a formal man again. It is a branch and parcel of mine oath, a charitable duty of my order. Therefore depart and leave him here with me.
I will not hence and leave my husband here, and ill it doth beseem your holiness to separate the husband and the wife.
Be quiet and depart. Thou shalt not have him.
Complain unto the Duke of this indignity.
Come, go. I will fall prostrate at his feet and never rise until my tears and prayers have won his grace to come in person hither and take perforce my husband from the abbess.
It's 5 o'clock!
By this, I think the dial points at 5. Anon, I'm sure the Duke himself in person comes this way to the melancholy vale, the place of death and sorry execution behind the ditches of this abbey here.
Upon what cause?
To see a reverend Syracusan merchant who put unluckily in this bay against the laws and statutes of this town, beheaded publicly for his offense.
See where they come! Oh, we will behold his death!
Kneel to the Duke before he pass the abbey.
Yet once again proclaim it publicly. If any friend will pay the sum for him, he shall not die. So much we tender him.
Justice, most sacred Duke, against the abbess.
She is a virtuous and reverend lady. It cannot be that she hath done thee wrong.
May it please your grace, Antipholus, my husband, whom I made lord of me and all I had at your important letters, this ill day a most outrageous fit of madness took him, that desperately he hurried through the street, with him his bondmen, all as mad as he, doing displeasures to the citizens by rushing in their houses, bearing thence rings, jewels, anything his rage did like. Once did I get him bound and sent him home, whilst to take order for the wrongs I went, that here and there his fury had committed. Anon, I would not by strong escape, he broke from those that had the guard of him, and with his mad attendant and himself, each one with ireful passions, with drawn swords met us again, and madly bent on us, chased us away, till, raising of more aid, we came again to bind them. Then they fled into this abbey here, whither we pursued them, and here the abbess shuts the gates on us, and will not suffer us to fetch him out, nor send him forth that we may bear him hence. Therefore, most gracious Duke, with thy command, let him be brought forth and borne hence for help.
Long since thy husband served me in my wars, and I to thee engaged a princely word, when thou didst make him master of thy bed, to do him all the grace and good I could. Go, Some of you, knock at the abbey gate. I'll bid the lady abbess come to me. I will determine this before I stir.
Oh, mistress, shift and save yourself. My master and his man are both broke loose, beaten the maids a row and bound the doctor, whose beard they have singed off with brands of fire, and ever as it blazed they threw on him great pails of puddled mire to quench the hair. My master preaches patience to him, and the while his man with scissors nicks him like a fool. And sure, unless you send some present help between them, they will kill the conjurer.
Peace, fool, thy master and his man are here, and that is false thou dost report to us.
Mistress, upon my life, I tell you true. I have not breathed almost since I did see it. He cries for you and vows if he can take you to scorch your face and to disfigure you. Hark, I hear him, mistress. Fly, be gone.
Come, stand by me. Fear nothing. Guard with halberds.
It is my husband. Witness you that he is born about invisible. Even now we housed him in the abbey here, and now he's there. Past thought of human reason.
Justice, most gracious Dugo, grant me justice, even for the service that long since I did thee when I bestrid thee in the wars and took deep scars to save thy life, even for the blood that then I lost for thee. Now grant me justice.
Unless the fear of death doth make me dote, I see my son Antipholus and Dromio.
Justice, sweet prince, against that woman there, she whom thou gavest to me to be my wife, that have abused and dishonored me, even in the strength and height of injury. Beyond imagination is the wrong that she this day hath shameless thrown on me.
Discover how, and thou shalt find me just.
This day, great Duke, she shut the doors upon me while she with harlots feasted in my house.
A gravest fault. Say, woman, didst thou so?
No, my good lord. Myself, he, and my sister today did dine together. So befall my soul, as this is false, he burdens me withal.
Never may I look on day nor sleep on night, but she tells to your highness simple truth.
Oh, perjured woman! Thou art both forsworn! In this the madman justly chargeth them.
This woman locked me out this day from dinner. That goldsmith there, were he not packed with her, could witness it, for he was there with me then, who parted with me to go fetch a chain, promising to bring it to the Porpentine, where Balthazar and I did dine together. Our dinner done, and he not coming thither, I went to seek him. In the street I met him, and in his company that gentleman. There did this perjured goldsmith swear me down that I this day of him received the chain, which God he knows I saw not. For the which he did arrest me with an officer. I did obey, and sent my peasant home for certain ducats. He with none returned. Then fairly I bespoke the officer to go in person with me to that my house. By the way, we met my wife, her sister, and a rabble more of vile confederates. Along with them, they brought one pinch, a hungry, lean-faced villain, a dead-looking man. This pernicious slave, forsooth, took on him as a conjurer, and gazing in mine eyes, feeling my pulse, and with no face as 'twere out facing me, cries out, I was possessed! Then altogether they fell upon me, bound me, and bore me thence in a dark and dankish vault at home. There left me and my man both bound together, till gnawing with my teeth my bonds in sunder, I gained my freedom, and immediately ran hither to your grace, whom I beseech to give me ample satisfaction for these deep shames and great indignities.
My lord, in truth, thus far I witnessed with him that he dined not at home, but was locked out.
But had he such a chain of thee or no?
He had, my lord, and when he ran in here, these people saw the chain about his neck.
Besides, I will be sworn these ears of mine heard you confess you had the chain of him after you first forswore it on the mart. And thereupon I drew my sword on you, and then you fled into this abbey here, from whence I think you are come by miracle.
I never came within these abbey walls, nor ever didst thou draw thy sword on me. I never saw the chain, so help me heaven, and this is false you burden me withal.
What an intrinsic impeaches this. I think you all have drunk of Circe's cup. If here you housed him, here he would have been. If he were mad, he would not plead so coldly. This is strange. Go, call the abbess hither. I think you all are mated or stark mad.
Most mighty Duke, vouchsafe me speak a word. Haply I see a friend will save my life and pay the sum that may deliver me.
Speak freely, Syracusan, what thou wilt.
Is not your name, sir, called Antipholus? And is not that your bondsman, Dromio?
Within this hour I was his bondman, sir, but I thank him, not into my cords. Now am I Dromio and his man unbound.
I'm sure you both of you remember me.
Ourselves we do remember, sir, by you, for lately we were bound, as you are now. You are not Pinch's patient, are you, sir?
Why look you strange on me? You know me well.
I never saw you in my life till now.
Oh, grief hath changed me since you saw me last. And careful hours with time's deformed hand have written strange features in my face. But tell me yet, dost thou not know my voice?
Neither.
Dromio, nor thou?
No, trust me, sir, nor I.
I'm sure thou dost.
Aye, sir, but I am sure I do not. And whatsoever a man denies, you are now bound to believe him.
Not know my voice. O time's extremity, hast thou so cracked and splitted my poor tongue in 7 short years, that here my only son knows not my feeble key of untuned cares? Though now this grained face of mine be hid in sap-consuming winter's drizzled snow, and all the conduits of my blood froze up, yet hath my night of life some memory, my wasting lamp some fading glimmer left, my dull deaf ears a little used to hear. All these old witnesses I cannot err. Tell me thou art my son Antipholus.
I never saw my father in my life.
But 7 years since in Syracuse, boy, thou knowest we parted. But perhaps, my son, thou shamest to acknowledge me in misery.
The Duke and all that know me in the city can witness with me that is not so. I ne'er saw Syracuse in my life.
I tell thee, Syracusan, 20 years have I been patron to Antipholus, during which time he ne'er saw Syracuse. I see thy age and dangers make thee dote.
Most mighty Duke, behold a man much wronged.
I see 2 husbands, or mine eyes deceive me.
One of these men is genius to the other, and of these, which is the natural man? Which is the spirit? Who deciphers them?
I, sir, am Dromio. Command him away.
I, sir, am Dromio. Pray let me stay.
Gian, art thou not, or else his ghost?
Oh, my old master! Who hath bound him here?
Whoever bound him, I will loose his bonds and gain a husband by his liberty. Speak, old Aegean, if thou be'st the man that hadst a wife once called Emilia, that bore thee at a burden 2 fair sons. Oh, if thou be'st the same Aegean, speak, and speak unto the same Emilia.
If I dream not, thou art Emilia. If thou art she, tell me where is that son that floated with thee on the fatal raft?
By men of Epidamnum, he and I, and the twin Dromio, all were taken up. But by and by rude fishermen of Corinth by force took Dromio and my son from them, and me they left with those of Epidamnum. What then became of them I cannot tell. I to this fortune that you see me in.
Why, here begins his morning story, right? These 2 Antipholuses, these 2 so like, and these 2 Dromios, one of semblance, besides her urging of the shipwreck of the wreck at sea, these are the parents of these children which accidentally are met here. Antipholus, thou camest from Corinth first?
No, sir, not I. I came from Syracuse.
Stand apart. I know not which is which.
I came from Corinth, my most gracious lord.
And I with him.
Brought to this town by that most famous warrior, Duke Menaphon, your most renowned uncle.
Which of you 2 did dine with me today?
I, gentle mistress.
And are not you my husband?
No, I say nay to that.
So do I, yet did she call me so. And this fair gentlewoman, her sister here, did call me brother. What I told you then, I hope I shall have leisure to make good, if this be not a dream I see and hear.
That is the train, sir, which you had of me.
I think it be, sir, I deny it not.
And you, sir, for this chain arrested me.
I think I did, sir, I deny it not.
I sent you money, sir, to be your bail by Dromio, but I think he brought it not.
No, none by me.
This purse of ducats I did receive from you, and Dromio, my man, did bring them me. I see we still did meet each other's man, and I was ta'en for him, and he for me, and thereupon these errors are arose.
These ducats pawn I for my father here.
It shall not need. Thy father hath his life.
Renowned Duke, vouchsafe to take the pains to go with us into the abbey here, and here at large discoursed all our fortunes, and all that are assembled in this place, that by this sympathized one day's error have suffered wrong. Go, keep us company, and we shall make full satisfaction. 33 years have I but gone in travail of you, my sons, until this present hour my heavy burden ne'er delivered. The Duke, my husband, and my children both, and you the calendars of their nativity, go to a gossip's feast and go with me. After so long grief, oh, such festivity.
With all my heart, I'll gossip at this feast.
Master, shall I fetch your stuff from shipboard?
Romeo, what stuff of mine hast thou embarked?
Your goods that lay at host, sir, in the centaur.
Speaks to me, I am your master, Dromio. Come, go with us. We'll look to that anon. Embrace thy brother there, rejoice with him.
Methinks you are my glass and not my brother. I see by you I am a sweet-faced youth. Will you walk in to see their gossiping?
Not I, sir. You're my elder.
That's a question. How shall we try it?
Well, draw cuts for the senior. Till then, lead thou first.
Nay, then thus. We came into the world like brother and brother, and now let's go hand in hand, not one before the other.
And thus ends our evening's entertainment. We hope you've enjoyed our farcical tale of mistaken identity and Shakespearean hijinks. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We'll be starting our talkback momentarily. Please feel free to stay and type any questions you might have into the chat. Either way, be safe, make good choices, and as always, thank you for helping us to keep Shakespeare weird.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us for the Comedy of Errors. This is our first time doing a talkback, so we're very excited. So if you have any questions for any of our actors or staff, you can just type it into the group chat and I will read it to them and then someone can answer for you. I'll start with one while we're waiting for people. So how do you find Zoom being different than working in a traditional stage medium? Anyone?
can chime in. I found it a little bit different than working on stage, because often you want to walk over to somebody to speak to them and you're stuck in a chair. So that definitely makes it a little bit different than the experience of being on stage. I also felt like we wanted to work a little harder in our text work to make sure that we were very, very clear about what we were saying and who we were saying it to, so that people can follow the story. Because we don't have that additional storytelling piece of being able to move to somebody or do a lot physically.
We have a question. Kathy, I think this one is for you. It's from Collins Wilson. He says, I'm not sure how I didn't notice this before, but is Shakespeare spoofing the idea of the deus ex machina with Emilia, an actual nun, coming in to sort things out?
Oh man, that's a thought right there. I mean, I hadn't thought about that at all. Obviously, she is kind of a deus ex machina. I hadn't thought about the fact that she's a nun. I had been thinking that Shakespeare probably made her a nun just as a way for her to be in the city, but not to have ever heard the name Antipholus, because she's cloistered. That's sort of the reason that I had in my mind. I know that the Comedy of Errors was based on a much older work, a Greek work. I don't have the information in front of me, and I'm not a dramaturg. I'm not encyclopedic like that, but I'm not sure which parts of the story are original from the Greek and which are not. But that's a really interesting thing to think about. Man, I'm going to have to direct this again.
All right, and Colin has another question. He says, did the online format affect your approach towards the text in terms of shared lines?
A little bit. So when it comes to acting on stage, shared lines are very, very fast and snappy. With Zoom, you have to have a little bit of air in between in order for the program to shift mics. Otherwise, things get cut off. So it's a real balancing act trying to have people speak those lines as quickly as they really need to, but also leaving enough air to have everything be heard. And it's still a learning curve. Like, we've been doing this since April, and I still feel like every time we do this, we learn more and we figure some more stuff out. And I mean, who knows how long this is going to go on or how many more shows we're going to be doing like this. Hopefully we're going to keep on learning and adding to our Zoom acting vocabulary. But it is certainly different dealing with what we take to be the standard way of dealing with Shakespearean text and adapting that to this digital format.
Paul Wesslund asks, how did you come up with the idea for the narrator? And says it's very well done.
The narrator concept was come up with by Erin Riley for our first production of Twelfth Night. And I believe that she came up with that just as a way of sort of helping the audience to follow what was going on, because we are losing a lot of our storytelling vocabulary. We're losing a lot of the tools from our box for how we tell story and how we portray different plot shifts and nuance to the audience. So having the narrator there really helps to tie everything together. And in this particular production, I wanted to incorporate the narrator more as part of the story than we had before. And fortunately, Cheryl was game. And so we had a little meeting like early on in the process where I was like, so I have this idea. What do you think about maybe trying this arc with the narrator? And Cheryl goes, yes, and comes back with all these ideas. And it was just a really wonderful collaboration in that sense. I was very happy with how the narrator came out.
Okay, Joe Shelby has a comment, which is the pacing and the rapid conversation segments, like the door scene was excellent, even with Zoom buffering. And Sean Eustace tells us that the original Greek story is called the Menachmi. And then he asks, how does Luciana reconcile avoiding the chain of being by not being married to or accepting anti-Antipholus by the end? Or does she not accept the other Antipholus?
Oh, I think she totally does accept him, because I was playing her with the concept of her having this kind of, I don't know, fight inside of herself where she might have had a crush on her sister's husband for a while and was enamored of him, but would never have done anything to violate that, of course, because, you know, her place was to be a good sister. But definitely finding out that the person who was calling her a mermaid wasn't her sister's husband. Oh, yeah. She ended up with him.
Okay. William Hartman says, do you find that being in remote locations working with each other helps you perfect your craft so that when you return to a stage together, you feel you are better for this? Anybody? To Aundráa?
I think yes, for sure, because being in this type of setting makes me personally have to really focus on the language and focus on the text. And, you know, when you have so much of your body to use on stage, you can rely on those kinds of things, and maybe kind of get away with a little bit more than you would when you have to really just focus on the text and the meaning and what you're trying to convey with those words. And I think with Shakespeare especially, it definitely is going to be an excellent tool for me, myself personally, when I go back, because I'm very new to Shakespeare. So when I go back, praying we get back, knock on wood, everybody do it right now. For when we get back on stage, it'll just be another tool to help with that, because in this setting, it is really just, for me, it is really just about the text and the words and the meaning behind the words.
Okay, Collins Wilson has another question. He says, this is for Dromio of Syracuse. What was your approach towards the spherical speech? While it is a comedic text, there is obviously very problematic language in terms of fat shaming with that. And he also has a comment, which he says is not a question, but you all were fantastic and my sides hurt from laughing. So Dromio of Syracuse, Micaela, we'll turn that over to you.
Sure. Yeah. Kathy and I talked about this a bit when we worked this scene. It's definitely a difficult scene to approach because it's maybe not so much as funny as it used to be when Shakespeare wrote it. And maybe shouldn't have been funny when Shakespeare wrote it either. We talked a lot about the idea of making it so Dromio was attracted to this person in terms of their physicality, and was scared by this person because they knew all of these things about him. And how do they know all of these things? So we definitely tried to find a way to make it so my disgust was not so much about the body, and was more about what was coming from up here. But I would say that text is still very problematic. So I think it's good that we didn't cut it, and we leaned into the fact that Shakespeare writes some problematic things.
All right. Do we have any more questions? Theresa, since we have a few minutes left, can you talk a little bit about the tech side of what goes into working on this kind of platform?
and she's amazing.
All right, thank you so much for sticking around to join us for this talkback, and thank you to all of our cast members and staff who stuck around to participate as well. We are so honored that we get to still perform and we get to interact with you in this way, and we thank you for helping us keep Shakespeare weird, and we hope you will join us again for our production of the Scottish play, or Macbeth, coming up in October. Thank you so much. And also thank you for donating to our fundraiser for Two Strikes Theater Collective. We have gone over our last goal. So the last time I checked, we were at 2,300 and change. So we are so thankful that we are able to help theater companies during this great pandemic that we're all experiencing that's keeping us out of theaters. So thank you again, and we hope to see you soon.